Welcome to a new episode.
Hello and welcome back to the Copper Connection podcast with me, as always, your host, Chris Bailey. We're doing something different today. This is a deep dive specifically requested for those of you sitting your technical exams or getting into the thick of your first major site placement. We often talk about the arts of the trade, the perfect solder joint, the nearest wiring loom, but today we're talking about the science of longevity. We're talking about maintenance plans and timeframes. I know, maintenance sounds like the boring bit, but if you want to move from being the person with the torch to the engineer who manages the site, you need to understand planned preventative maintenance, or PPM. It's the difference between being a firefighter, always rushing to emergencies, and being a pilot, checking your instruments before you ever leave the runway. So in this week's episode, let's get into the bones of what you actually need to know to hit that 20-minute mastery level. So grab a brew, settle in, and let's get into this week's episode. Let's set the scene. You're looking at a system. It could be a boiler room for a block of flats, a server cooling rack, or a commercial kitchen. Why don't we just wait for things to break? Because reactive maintenance is a disaster. It's expensive, it's dangerous, and it ruins your reputation. PPM is the proactive choice. There are two primary objectives here. One is lifelink. We identify components that are starting to fatigue. Think of it like a warning light on the car's dashboard. If we catch it now, it's a £20 part. If we catch it next month, it's a 2000 system failure. Number two, efficiency and the green agenda. This is huge now. A system that isn't maintained, say, look at a condenser coil full of dust, has to work twice as hard to move the same amount of heat. That's wasted electricity, wasted carbon, and a very unhappy bill payer. In the industry, we use asset registers. Every tap, every valve, every pump is an asset. And today we're learning the rhythm of those assets. When we're looking at maintenance, you'll see two main numbers popping up time and time again. That's 3 months and 12 months. This is the heartbeat of the building. The 12-month cycle, or the annual service, in a standard domestic house or a small shop, an annual check is usually enough. It aligns with the seasons, checking the heating before winter, checking the AC before summer. Then we have the 3-month cycle. This is for high traffic or high use areas. This is for your big jobs. Think schools with 1,000 kids, 24-hour manufacturing plants or gyms, or even hospitals. If a tap is turning 50 times a day in a house, but 5,000 times a day in a train station, you can't wait a year to check the washers. As an apprentice, your first job on PPM site is often checking the last service date on all the tags. If it's outside of that window, the building is at risk. Let's get technical. When we walk into plumbing PPM, we aren't just looking for leaks. You are looking for calibration. So let's have a look at some plumbing assets. Float operated valves. These are the unsung heroes. If the valve doesn't shut off, water goes down the overflow. In a commercial building, that's hundreds of litres of metered water, literally money, going down the drain. You can check the settings, clear the debris, and listen for hammers or vibrations. Sediment and scale. If you're in a hard water area, this is your primary enemy. You're cleaning out tanks. Why? Well, because sediment gets stuck in pumps, impellers, and shreds them. And flow rates. We're measuring the output. If the tap was rated at 6 litres per minute and is now doing 3, something is blocked or a valve is failing. What about our drainage assets? Don't overlook the dark side. Water traps. Every sink has a trap. If the water evaporates or the seal is broken, sewer gases or methane, hydrogen sulfate come up. On a PPM, you recharge traps and check for blockages. And gutters and downpipes, we check for sagging. Over time, brackets fail. If a gutter sags, water pools, mosquitoes breed, and eventually the weight of the water rips the guttering off the wall. So now let's talk about the trades where you need a license to breathe, and that's gas. On a gas PPM, you're performing a service, not just a check. We're looking at the flue. This is the life and death. You are testing the integrity of the flue and the flow. If the flue is cracked or blocked by a bird's nest, believe me, it's happened. Those gases, carbon monoxide, stay in the room. Ventilation parameters. A boiler needs oxygen to burn cleanly. If a customer has blocked an air vent because they felt a draft, the boiler will produce high levels of CO. Part of your PPM is policing the environment to keep it safe. Safety controls. You're testing the fail-safes. If the flame goes out, does the gas shut off within the required seconds? That's your flame supervision device, or FSD test. Electrical maintenance is about things you can't always see. Electrical circuits. An annual PPM for wiring involves checking continuity and insulation. Think of electricity like water in a pipe. Insulation of the pipe wall. If that insulation resistance is dropped, your electricity is leaking, and that leads to fires. Dissimilar metals. This is the classic exam question. Copper and aluminium together create a chemical reaction called electrolysis. It creates a high resistant joint that can get red hot. You find this by sight, looking for the white powder or blue-green corrosion. And lighting. Within lighting, dirt is the enemy here. We call it light loss factor. On a PPM, we don't just change bulbs, we clean the louvers. We also test emergency lighting. If the power cuts, will those battery backups last for the required 3 hours? If you don't test them on PPM, never find out they're dead during a real fire. And finally, the lungs and brain of the building. Ventilation and aircon. Balancing. Air is lazy. It wants to take the shortest path. If you don't balance the dampeners, the room nearest to the fan will be a gale, and the room at the end will be an oven. Condensate connections. This is the most common failure in ACs, as air cools, water drips off the coils. If the drain pipe is blocked by slime or algae, that water ends up on the client's expensive ceiling. Every PPM includes a drain test. Pour water in, make sure it comes out the other end. Then we have communications and data. Even as a physical trade, you might be looking after the physical environment of the servers. So we've got the dust patrol. Servers are basically high-powered vacuum cleaners. They suck in dust. That dust coats the processors. They overheat, and the internet for the whole building could die. Security patches. In modern smart buildings, your heating is on Wi-Fi. If you don't update the software on the hub, hackers can take over the building's climate control. Okay, so to wrap this up, knowledge is power when you're an apprentice. It's easy to think that your only job is the physical work, but the value you bring to a company is being able to walk onto a site and say, that's a BSc installation. We need a 12-month PPM plan on that boiler and a 3-month check on those filters. That makes you a leader, and that makes you a strategist. Go back over this video, look at the specific types, the defrags, the rewashing, the flue integrity tests, and imagine yourself explaining them to a client, because one day you'll have to. Thanks for listening to the Copper Connection podcast. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss any more student takeovers, more pro tips, and more trade stories coming your way. I've been Chris Bailey. Work clean, work safe, and I will see you on the next episode. Stop revising harder and start revising smarter. I've spoken to hundreds of plumbing students, and the number one problem isn't the work on site, it's the theory exam. You know your job, but the examiner speak can catch you out. This is why I've built the Copper Connection Trade Academy. It's not just a collection of PDFs or basic quizzes. It's a specialised AI coach system designed to act as your personal one-to-one tutor 24/7. Whether you're doing a level 2, level 3, T-level or phase 1 to 3 in apprentices, here is how the academy helps you pass. It talks to you like an engineer. It's programmed with 100% British BSc terminology. No science slang, just the technical terms you need to score your marks. Instant feedback. You don't have to wait a week for your tutor to mark your work. The coach marks your answers instantly, gives you a technical breakdown and shows you a model answer. And adaptive learning, it doesn't matter if you're a total beginner or exam ready. The coach detects your levels and adjusts the pressures so you're always improving. We've covered everything: health and safety, science principles, hot, cold water systems, advanced fault finding. We've bridged the gap between being an apprentice on site and being a qualified specialist in the exam room. The academy doors are opening soon. If you're ready to stop guessing and start understanding, follow the Copper Connection podcast for early access. Follow along for the launch and let's get that qualification built by trades for the trades.
We'll be back next week. In the meantime, please subscribe and thanks for listening.